This presentation is about the economics of gender, specifically, the wages of men versus women. Income inequality. So do women really make less than men? I must tell you. If you're easily offended, well, that is too bad for you. And I hope you enjoy the presentation.
In 2013, female staffers in the Obama White House were paid less than 88 cents for every dollar paid to male staffers.
The Labor Department itself, the president's own Labor Department, says it's 81 cents.
Another federal study, for example, says the disparity is more like 88 cents for every dollar.
The studies do show that when you do the controlling, there's about a 9% gap.
The wage gap is really somewhere between 5 and 7 cents.
Women who do not get married have virtually no wage gap. They earn 96 cents for every dollar a man makes.
Look, even if 96 cents is the number, which it isn't, it's still terrible. Let me put this in terms that are perhaps easy to understand. If someone takes a dump on my desk, the size of the dump is not the issue. I'm not going to say, well, how big of a dump is it? 8 inches? 10 inches? Oh, just 3 inches? Well, that's almost like you didn't take a dump on my desk at all.
Women make different choices about what kinds of jobs they seek. They make different choices in reaction to marriage and childbirth. When those factors are taken into consideration, studies have indicated that the pay gap all but evaporates.
Bakers as a profession. Women earn 104% more than men in this job. Female bakers earn a weekly median of $466 compared with men's $448. Although baking might be considered a feminine field, men slightly outnumber women, comprising 53% of the field. The profession as a server or barback. Men and women almost equally staff this job, but women earn 111% more money. Each week, women earn a median of $400, and men earn a median of $360. That means women earn about $2,000 more than men per year. Personal appearance workers. This field, which includes makeup artists, skincare specialists and manicurists, is 79% female. Making a median of $434, women earn $12 more than the median for both sexes. Interviewers. This job seems to be an interesting profession. Staffed predominantly by women, this clerical job seems to favor female workers. Women's median weekly earnings of $608 were above the median for both sexes of $596. Preschool and kindergarten teachers. Women earn just slightly more than men in this field. While men's wages are reported individually, women take home a median of $614 a week. $2 more than the median reported for both sexes. The occupation is 98% female. Not sure if I have met a male kindergarten teacher. Interesting. Teacher assistants. Women earn 105% as much as men in this job. Male teacher assistants earn a median of $453 a week, and female teacher assistants earn a median of $474. Women comprise 92% of the field. Health technicians. These female technicians earn 102.4% as much as male peers. With a median weekly income of $740, women take home $17 more per week than men. Occupational therapists. In one of the best-paying jobs for women, female occupational therapists earn a median of about $60,000 per year and as much as $98,000. Women's median weekly earnings of $1,155 are also above the median for both sexes, meaning they are earning slightly more than men within the field. Look. It's a man in the picture. Well, at least I think it is. Professional painters. Women may be just 3% of construction and maintenance painters, but they push the median weekly earnings for both sexes above those for men, who earn $524 each week, which is below the median for both sexes. Aircraft, vehicle, and mobile equipment mechanics as a profession. Aircraft mechanics earn twice as much as vehicle and mobile equipment mechanics, and women earn slightly more in both jobs. Men earn below the median in both categories, despite holding about 97% of these positions. Construction laborers. Like construction supervisors, men earn just slightly below the median for both sexes in this male-dominated field. Women are just 2.3% of all construction laborers, but may earn a small amount more because they are concentrated in unionized jobs where wages are higher. Almost forgot. One more profession. Strippers. Or should I say, adult entertainers. Male stripper average salary is $22.29 an hour as compared to female strippers that averaged $31.48 an hour. So for a 40-hour work week, male strippers make $891.60 and female performers make $1,259.20. Wow! Male performers make 70.8068614993646.8% lower than lady performers. By the way, this part is funny. Ha. Ha. Ha.
The second popular argument for why the wage gap is women's fault is that they choose to enter lower-paying professions.
When you compare men and women in the same positions and with the same experience, the same education, there is no pay gap. You need to look at, yes, what the position is, and you need to compare apples to apples, not pick and choose.
Okay, apples to apples. Okay, well, in which case, I actually have a question for you. How do you like these apples?
A recent study out of Yale University that is interesting, where professors were given the identical resume. One had the name John on the top and one had the name Jennifer on top. And the male candidate was rated more favorably, and
Really?
they were offered on average $4,000 more than the female candidate.
Okay, so it seems we either address the root of this problem and fight entrenched sexism in our society, or all women simply change their names to John. Sure. It'll be confusing for a while, but you'll have $4,000 extra a year just to take the edge off the confusion. And also, don't despair just yet, because apparently, if women can just hang in there, there is hope.
If you're unmarried and childless between the ages of 35 and 43, the statistics show you make $1.08 on average to every male dollar.
So there you have it, ladies. If you can just remain single, not accidentally have children, and never turn 44, you're gonna be golden. Look, here's the thing.
This needs to get fixed. Yes, the facts are correct. So all women should be looking for jobs in the last few jobs described. Oh my God. No. In all reality, here are the numbers. Very interesting. Looks like men since 1979 have made more on average than women. The data is from England, but it's almost exact current US data. I know it's a bit hard to read. From left to right is metal workers, bankers, doctors, lawyers, directors or CEOs, full-time jobs, secretaries, physical trainers, journalist, social worker, and, well, you get the point. Men are in blue and women are orange. If you did not notice the last three professions, women make more than men. I said secretary wrong. My bad. It is getting better, but not at a rate we should be at.
What stops women from becoming CEOs, politicians, and surgeons at the same rate that men do? Some reasons include overt discrimination, subtle cultural factors, and the discouragement of girls from studying math and science. Those factors absolutely need to be addressed, but they're not the whole story. An important explanation for this disparity that doesn't get as much attention is the differences between the choices men and women make about their educations, careers, and family life. To give an example, a recent study attempted to answer why there are so few female politicians in the US by asking successful women why they wouldn't run for public office. While the study found some important institutional barriers were partly to blame, It also found that women's preferences played a huge role in the decision to run for office. The women cited the potentially devastating loss of privacy, the pressure of constant fundraising, the threat of compromising one's principles, and the long hours away from their families. The study found that women, on average, are less willing to make the sacrifices necessary for grueling political careers. And the women who do enter politics often do so later in life, when their children are older and the toll on family is not as great. These women are making the choices about how to balance work, family, and public service that are right for them. It's hard to fault them for that, even if we'd like to see more women in politics. And, as an aside, it turns out most men don't want to run for office either, citing precisely those same concerns. One way to increase female workforce participation is to have men perform a larger share of household and child-rearing duties. Stay-at-home dads are becoming more common, and it's been shown that even a modest increase in a man's contribution to child care and housework duties actually helps women balance their work and family obligations. This is a great development. But as I've discussed elsewhere, it's hard to encourage these kinds of cultural changes through policy. Top-down rules like mandatory paternity leave can actually backfire. In the end, decisions about how to parcel out household duties can only realistically be made at the individual and family level, where people can take their particular desires, needs, and abilities into account. It's not as simple as saying men should do more at home, because such changes require cultural and individual shifts that can't be mandated from above. Additionally, given the choice, there are many women who would still choose to spend more time at home. The desire to spend time with their kids may trump career ambitions, and for the women who feel this way, having a partner stay at home instead wouldn't make them any happier or more fulfilled. By questioning their preferences here, we actually undermine women as rational agents. One way to address this is for businesses to give employees more flexibility in the hours they work and the locations they work from. This would allow people to more effectively balance their home lives and their careers. So to attract talented candidates, industries may want to rethink grueling work hours or conditions that prevent people of both sexes from maintaining a work-life balance, like Google, for example, has done. But such proposals are limited by the realities of some professions. Surgeons can't work from home, and politicians must spend time with their constituents and their colleagues. And like other kinds of change, these policies can't be mandated without causing unintended consequences. Ultimately, you can't make every career compatible with a robust family life. It's not just women who can't have it all in that respect. No one can. We all face difficult choices in life. While we should fight prejudice wherever it persists and encourage women to pursue male-dominated majors, jobs, and leadership positions, there will still be many women and men who will choose differently. And that's okay. Some people are comfortable working longer hours in exchange for higher pay. Others prefer careers with more flexibility instead. Men and women should be empowered to choose lives that meet their own standard of flourishing, not the standards chosen by others. Supporting human freedom means supporting the freedom of diverse individuals to choose the lives they believe to be the most fulfilling, while eliminating artificial barriers wherever we can.
Are you a middle-aged man running a financial firm or a multinational conglomerate? Do you find that pushy female employees have been nagging you with unreasonable demands for equal pay? What if I told you about a revolutionary new product that lets you pay women just as much as men without sacrificing the sheer convenience of paying them less? Introducing Ladybucks, dollars for female employees that are worth just 83 cents on the dollar. Ladybucks is the new currency for women from the Federal Reserve and the creators of Playtech's Gentle Glide 360. Available in a variety of colors and scents, Ladybucks feature America's most celebrated female presidents like Gina Davis, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Battlestar Galactica's Laura Roslin, who only became president after almost all of mankind was destroyed. It's an amount that could be described as virtually the same. Really just reflective of the different choices women make. And some fucked up mad men bullshit. So why not try Ladybucks? Show the women in your workplace that they're truly 0.83 in a million. Ladybucks are not for everyone. Consult your lawyer before using Ladybucks. Use of Ladybucks may result in class action lawsuits, adverse publicity, failure to retain staff, or being kicked in the dick.
Of course, that last video was a joke. Here is a funny comic about the glass ceiling. So, what is the definition of the glass ceiling? It's women reaching a certain level but unable to gain further promotion due to superiors' sexism or preference for males to assume higher positions despite an individual's capabilities.
The glass ceiling has been with us for a while and is a very popular metaphor still. So you'll read it in journalism in particular, but also in the social science literature, the metaphor used. I think that it is not a good metaphor. We certainly still have prejudice against women in leadership roles in various ways. So, you know, you could say, well, glass ceiling is a metaphor for prejudice, but if you look at it in a more precise, more detailed way, at the notion of a glass ceiling, I think we can see how misleading it is. For one thing, it suggests that the barriers are way up there in the hierarchy, so that a woman would, of course, have a career in the same way as a man, but then she gets near the top. She thinks she's going to become executive vice president or maybe CEO, and then, whoops, she finds out she can't. She didn't realize that before, according to this notion, but she hits her head on the glass ceiling. So that's profoundly misleading, because the challenges that women face in having successful careers are not just at the top. They are all the way along the career, from step 1 through step 2, step 3, all the way through the career. So the reason you have so few women at the top of some hierarchies, such as being a chief executive officer in the Fortune 500, is that there are few women at that level right before that. So women progressively drop out of the hierarchy. It isn't that the women are there in great numbers and then can't get to that upper level. It's a progressive dropout that occurs for many different reasons. So it is a rather odd metaphor, actually, in terms of not capturing the phenomenon.
Another contemporary economic myth is that women make 75 cents for every dollar men make because they're discriminated against in labor markets. Like other myths, this does have a kernel of truth to it. So for example, if you add up all the incomes of women and divide by the number of women in the labor force, and then do the same thing for men, what you'll find is on average, women do make about 75% of what men do. What's happening here is not discrimination in the labor market, but differences in the choices that men and women make about investing in their knowledge, their education, their skills, and their job experience that lead to them getting paid different salaries. Economists talk about people's human capital. And by human capital, we mean the knowledge, the skills, the education, and the job experience that people have. And economics argues that people get paid wages according to that human capital. It turns out that men and women invest very differently in their human capital. And we can see that in 4 different ways. First of all, educational choices. Men, for example, tend to go into fields like engineering. Women tend to go into social sciences, into psychology, into nursing. And so where men are making higher salaries as engineers or perhaps in the business world, women tend to end up in jobs for which their salaries are somewhat lower. So even though they may have the same years of schooling, the different choices they've made about their majors lead to them working in different areas and getting paid differently. Secondly, men and women have different expectations about work. For example, if women expect down the road to take time off to raise children, they'll make different choices today about what kinds of skills they acquire than if they imagine they'll be working full-time for the rest of their lives. And we know historically that many women in the 1960s and 70s didn't imagine that they would be working full-time at age 40 and ended up making choices that led them to have jobs when they were working at age 40 that didn't pay as well as they might have otherwise. Younger women today, of course, are more likely to imagine themselves working at age 40 and therefore make different investments today. Another difference between men and women is full versus part-time work. Women are much more likely than men to work part-time, men are more likely to work full-time. And part-time work, even for the same kinds of jobs, tends to pay less than full-time work. And women tend to prefer part-time work more than men because women still tend to take on the majority of the responsibility for children in the home. Finally, men and women differ in terms of their tenure on a job or the way in which their careers get interrupted. If it's the case that women take time off from the workforce to raise children, that will have an impact on their salaries down the road. So when we put these 4 things together, what we get is that the difference between men and women's pay is not a result of labor market discrimination, but of the choices that men and women make before they enter the labor market or even when they're in the labor market about the kinds of jobs they want to have and the way they want to balance family and work. Studies that have tried to control for all these factors have shown that if you take a man and a woman, same experience, same education, same job, and compare their salaries, what you find is that women make about 98% of what men do. So that gender wage gap pretty much disappears. And in some jobs, women actually make more. Now, it might well be the case that women are being discriminated against or that sexism is a problem in the choices that women make. For example, girls are guided away from math classes and guided into other kinds of classes. It's also certainly the case that our expectations about women's roles versus caring for children in the household and men's roles about caring for children in the household are very different. And if we think those are poor choices, if we want to see women's pay more equal to men, what we need to do is convince more women to go into areas such as the sciences and mathematics and engineering, and we need to convince men to take more responsibility for children in the house. When those begin to even out, we'll see wages begin to even out as well. But in the meantime, whatever choices men and women make, the wages they're paid in the market will reflect the productivity associated with those choices and are not the result of discrimination.